Good evening, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here with you tonight in this distinguished event. And first, let me thank you, Dan, for this invitation. To all of your team, congratulations on, once again, what looks like a tremendous event that shapes the global energy industry. Let me also salute, with respect, delegation from Mexican officials that is here with us tonight, from various ministries, and in particular, a number of congressmen that I want to thank, not only for their presence, but for the tremendous support that they have given to the energy sector in Mexico. And they are the ones responsible to have approved the energy bill, the constitutional bill, last December. With this, let me share a few slides with you, and then we can have a conversation then on, and obviously take some questions if the audience would like to. And I give you a general briefing of why we pursued a reform and what elements are the key aspects of this constitutional change. When President Peña Nieto took office in December 2012, he embarked on a reform process that is unparalleled in the last decades in Mexico. Almost 16 reforms have been passed in 16 months, and the main aim was to address productivity growth problems. Why? Because productivity growth has been stagnant in Mexico for almost 30 years. So it was not reforms for the sake of reforms, but actually trying to address those factors that dampened productivity growth in Mexico. A telecommunication bill was passed, an education bill, a competition law, a fiscal bill, and in particular in the energy sector, the main aim was to fight a paradox. Mexico has abundant reserves, but very high energy costs. If you take the subsidies that the government gives to electricity prices in Mexico, and you compare the prices that we face vis-a-vis the United States, Mexico pays about 70% higher electricity costs than the United States, which is our largest trading partner. So this was the main aim of the reform, to have a new policy that allows Mexico to have competitive energy prices through relatively cost-competitive natural gas prices like in the United States, but at the same time to ramp up our production of hydrocarbons in Mexico, in particular oil, which has been declining over the last 10 years. What is the potential impact that we expect in the next couple of years? To increase investment in the exploration and production sector only by about 2% of GDP, which involves increasing investment in Mexico by about 8 percentage points. If you can put up the slide, please. You can see in this slide, on the left column, our total accumulated production since 1904, which is about 55 billion barrels of crude equivalent. Our 1P reserves are about 14 billion, and our 3Ps about 44 billion. The capital needed in order to develop these resources over the next decade or so, we believe is close to $1 trillion if you take into account the prices that Pemex faces today in terms of development and exploration costs. So capital needs are tremendous, but we also believe that the opportunity, if you consider the political risk that Mexico offers for investors, as a very attractive one. So obviously these constitutional changes that I will refer to in a while give Pemex a couple of very important challenges. Number one, since 75 years, for the first time, we will have budgetary and management autonomy. We will also have, for the first time, a new corporate governance where the oil sectors union will not participate and will actually have what I would say a modern board, with 5 fully independent board members and 5 state members. We will have as well, for the first time in 75 years, the capacity to compensate our workers with industry salaries. Implementing that in the company is going to be a challenge. We're in the process of doing so, but it also represents a tremendous asset in order to retain and attract the talent that Mexico needs, or that Pemex needs to develop the opportunities that we have. We also are blessed with the opportunity to go through a round zero, which we are concluding with the government, in particular with the Secretary of Energy. This will give Pemex most of its production assets and some of the columns on the right that you can see, which are prospective resources, that if you sum up the conventional and non-conventional assets, equate about 150 billion BOEs. We will clearly not get all of those because Mexico is committed to have a very successful round one in the next couple of months. That will be in charge of the National Hydrocarbons Commissioner, who's here with us tonight, and which commission will be significantly strengthened like in other parts of the world. So what you can expect is a very successful round zero for Pemex that strengthens our balance sheet and our capacity to deliver with all these instruments that I mentioned, but at the same time, a very successful round one that allows production by private investors such as you, some maybe together with Pemex, but maybe not, because Pemex will need to compete in round one as well for these new assets. And this is a great opportunity.